The Tennessee Titans are through 2 weeks of free agency, and the biggest loser so far is definitely Will Levis. I'll explain on today's edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. On today's show, we're going to go over the biggest winners and the biggest losers from the first 2 weeks of free agency so far for the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to tell you why Will Levis is the biggest loser. I'm going to tell you why Treylon Burks is a big winner. And we'll talk about how much cap space the Titans have and the remaining questions that they have going forward. Before we get into all of it, I do want to thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day. Speaking of every day, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. Couldn't do it without you guys. If you aren't an everydayer, you need to be one, because this time of year, there's always breaking news. The draft is right around the corner. There's so much to go over, and you want to make sure that you are as informed as you could possibly be as a Tennessee Titans fan, and you're going to be able to do that here with the Locked On Titans podcast. But with that being said, again, I want to go over my biggest winners and losers. And look, I got to start with the big losers here, because Will Levis is by far the biggest loser of free agency so far, okay? And it's because it is clear that the Tennessee Titans want to take Cam Ward at number 1 overall in the NFL draft. And we continue to hear it from everywhere. Now, as I said before, this is either the greatest acting job by Mike Borgonzi that we will ever see. This is, Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. This is just a magical performance of which we will never see the likes of again. Give that man the Oscar. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that this is all a massive ruse that the Tennessee Titans are trying to play to get the Giants to give even more to trade up. I'm sorry, I don't buy it at this point. What I've heard, what we've read, what we've seen, the Titans are going to draft Cam Ward number 1 overall. And with that being the case, Will Levis obviously is a big loser, because he is no longer considered the future at quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Like, that is a driven home point this offseason. And now, as we talked about on yesterday's show, we're starting to hear trade noise about Will Levis. And as I said on yesterday's show, the Tennessee Titans must trade Will Levis if they intend to draft Cam Ward number 1 overall. It has to happen. Now, I wouldn't expect it to happen until the NFL draft, until that weekend. But regardless, Will Levis was drafted in the second round, traded up for, and drafted in the second round. He went into last season expecting to be the franchise quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. In his mind, he still thinks he is a franchise quarterback in the NFL. And at the end of the day, this offseason will take that opportunity away from him. And who knows if he's ever able to get it back. So with that in mind, there's no other way to slice it. Will Levis is a big loser from this free agency period. Now, the other big loser that I have here is Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter wants to be the number 1 pick in the draft. And again, like we just talked about, I believe that Cam Ward will be the number 1 pick for the Tennessee Titans. That is my expectation, and that is my belief. And the way that I discuss this offseason and all of these moves will be colored through that lens. The Titans are taking Cam Ward, folks. All right? So if you're Abdul Carter, you're a big loser here, because you wanted to go number 1 overall. You were tweeting about going number 1 overall. Harold Landry gets cut, and you're tweeting about it. Like, it's clear Abdul Carter wants to go number 1 overall, and I don't blame him. I would want to go number 1 overall if I was a highly competitive, highly productive college athlete. But you're not going number 1 overall, Abdul Carter. So you're a loser in this. And on the same vein, folks who wanted to trade back, which includes me, I'm a big loser in this process. I wanted to trade back for the Tennessee Titans. I wanted to collect more draft capital. I wanted to take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter at number 3 and never look back. Now, as I have said throughout the entire offseason, I'm perfectly fine if the Titans decide to go with one of the quarterbacks. I mean, quarterback is too important. If they believe in one of those guys, they got to take him. So I'm not mad about it. But the reality is, if you're someone who is just totally out on quarterback. You're not open-minded to it at all. You don't have the ability to live with that decision, and you're just gung-ho. They got to trade back. If they don't, I'm going to be pissed. Well, you're a big loser. You lost. You lost the game. All right? You lost. They're not trading back. They are not taking Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. They are not taking Shadur Sanders. They're taking Cam Ward number 1 overall. And if you're somebody who didn't want that to happen, who does not want that to happen, you lost. You lost. So deal with your emotions now. Pick yourself up and get on the Cam Ward trade and support your starting quarterback in the future of your franchise. But outside of all things related to quarterback, another big loser is Brian Callahan. And let me explain this. So while I think that Cam Ward is what's best for the Tennessee Titans' future at this point, it's not best for the future of Brian Callahan. Because Brian Callahan needs to win games this year to save his job. I'm sorry, I do not believe that Brian Callahan has been given a pass. I do not believe that Brian Callahan has been reassured that he will not get fired if he has a bad season. That did not happen. I do not believe that. I don't believe that's coming. And the reality is that a rookie quarterback on a team with, we hope, is an improved offensive line, but I doubt the offensive line will be elite. And then a weapons group that is no less than below league average. Okay? A rookie quarterback with a below average offensive talent level, probably not going to win you very many games, Brian Callahan. If the Titans would have went out and got a veteran quarterback, I think that there's a chance that Brian Callahan could have saved his job. But the odds of Cam Ward and the offense playing well enough this year to win enough games and for Cam Ward to look good enough for Brian Callahan to keep his job, I am very, very skeptical. So we heard from all of the local folks, Brian Callahan wanted Sam Darnold. He didn't get him. He wanted the veteran quarterback because winning with a rookie is difficult. So Brian Callahan is a big loser of this offseason so far. And then my final loser is the tackles. NPF, Jalen Duncan, you're done. You're done. You're absolutely done, which they should have been. Quite frankly, they were losers before. Look, that's wrong. I shouldn't say that. They made it to the NFL, high-level professional athletes. I would do despicable things to have been talented enough and, quite frankly, big enough, too small, to be an NFL-level player, even if I was a bad NFL player. I'm an NFL player. I ain't no loser in life. I won, baby. So, ultimately winners. But, again, the hopes that NPF or Jalen Duncan could turn into a starting offensive tackle, they're done. They lost. It's over. Quite frankly, cut both of them. I don't understand how the Titans can pay NPF $3 million. I would imagine that after they go into the draft and see what the roster looks like, we get that cut a little bit later. But NPF and Duncan shouldn't even be on this football team by the time we get to training camp. So big losers, in my opinion. But with that being said, who won? Who are the winners here? Treylon Burks, I'm looking at you. Today's episode is brought to you by Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries. That includes IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. You can find the right talent. If you need a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivered incredible results. And the process is fast and easy. You can post a job for free. It's super simple. And within a day, you're going to get multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com to connect to the top talent and grow your business today. Today's episode is also brought to you by Monarch money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. It has all your accounts, all your investments, all your spending, all in one place. So stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started on Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on online shopping, and now I can budget smarter and save more. And instead of juggling multiple apps, I can use Monarch to check my finances, track my spending, and even plan my long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Again, that's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast, talking about winners and losers of free agency so far. I talked about my losers, the biggest one being Will Levis, but Brian Callahan is in there as well, and anyone who wanted a trade back in the draft. Now we'll get to the winners, and then I'll get to the biggest remaining questions for the Titans at the end of the show to kind of cap off this week. I do want to thank you again, though, for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day. But my big winner is J.C. Latham. So you could say that I honestly had J.C. Latham in the losers, and then I moved him back to the winners. Because Latham is switching to right tackle, which means that him as a left tackle failed. Like, that's the only way that we could put that. Him as a left tackle failed. Moving him to right tackle is an acknowledgement that, okay, J.C. Latham is not a left tackle. That's an acknowledgement of that. But we just saw Penei Sewell get a massive deal, the biggest offensive tackle deal at right tackle. And J.C. Latham is ultimately a better right tackle. That is what we have learned from this offseason, is the Tennessee Titans have looked at the tape. Bill Callahan has looked at the tape, looked at the offensive line, and said J.C. Latham would be a better right tackle than he is a left tackle. And putting J.C. Latham at his best position is great for J.C. Latham. He's going to be able to play his best. He isn't going to be tested as much. People always say, oh, well, now good pass rushers rush on both sides. Left tackle is still slightly more important, and you have to be slightly more athletic to play left tackle than right tackle. Right tackle is still super important, and I agree that there are good pass rushers on both sides, but left tackle, because it's the blind side of the quarterback, will always be slightly more important than right tackle, no matter what happens with anything else. The nature of the human anatomy is what makes left tackle more important than right tackle, and that's not changing anytime soon. So with that in mind, again, J.C. Latham, big winner here. I think that J.C. Latham probably be a pretty good left tackle. I think last year he was like the 20th best left tackle in the NFL, in my opinion, 20 to 25, somewhere in there. Rookie, that's expected. I think he probably would have gotten to a Pro Bowl level left tackle. Top 10, you know what I mean? But I think he could be a top 5 right tackle. And when you pair him with Kevin Zeitler on that side, a veteran, now instead of having Skoronski and Latham together, who are both young players, now you have Skoronski with Moore, who's been in the NFL for 4 years, and you have Zeitler and Latham. And Zeitler's been in the NFL for 14 years or whatever. So now you have a veteran paired next to a young guy. And I think that makes a ton of sense at the end of the day for the Tennessee Titans. And J.C. Latham can get a monster payday at right tackle. He could be the best version of himself. So I think he is a big-time winner here. I also think Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is a clear winner here with Cheeto Awuzie being cut. Like, it's not even close. JBJ is a huge winner. he's going to get an opportunity to be a starting quarterback next year or cornerback next year. So I just think that when you look at the cornerback position and you have Roger McCreary in the slot, and you have Snead on the outside, now you have JBJ on the outside, you're giving Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who was a 5th-round pick last year, an opportunity to be an NFL starter for 3 years before he gets his contract. That's a monster win for a 5th-round pick. How many 5th-round picks out there get the opportunity to be an unquestioned starter in year 2? Not very many. Chigakonkwo was one of them. But, I just think that Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and the faith that the Titans have shown in him right now, he is a massive winner, maybe the biggest winner so far of the Tennessee Titans all season. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is a starting level corner. He might be your number 1 corner by this time next year. And like I said, I've been teasing it all show. Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks is a massive, massive winner. All the Titans have done is add Van Jefferson. No matter what the Titans do here. Look, I have continued to say that I think the Tennessee Titans should go into the veteran free agent market and they should sign one of those veterans. And one of those veterans, like Amari Cooper, like Keenan Allen, like, Mike Williams is gone now. Stephon Diggs. Diggs is now meeting with the New England Patriots, though. But I guess my overall point here is if the Titans could get one of those veteran wide receivers, that's what I want. But if they don't get them and they go into the draft, they're going to take Cam Ward number 1 overall. Maybe they trade down in the 2nd round. But who's truly going to be available in the NFL draft for the Tennessee Titans that can make a massive difference in year 1? Who? I don't see it. I don't see it. So if there isn't sufficient help in the draft and the Titans aren't going to go out and get one of these veteran wide receivers and all they've signed is Van Jefferson, well, who's going to play wide receiver? You have Calvin Ridley, Bryce Oliver, Van Jefferson, Jaquan Jackson. What are we doing here? So that creates an incredible opportunity for Treylon Burks once again. Now, I'm not saying that I think Treylon Burks is going to take advantage of the opportunity, but at the end of the day, he's got that opportunity. So if the Titans don't cut him and they actually go into the season with Treylon Burks as their wide receiver too, you couldn't, for him to be in year 4 and what he's done so far and to still get an opportunity like this, that is crazy to me. So there's no other way around it. Treylon Burks is a massive winner here. My final big winner is the rookie linebackers, James Williams and Cedric Gray. The Titans bring in Cody Barton. I'm like, okay, Cody Barton and Kenneth Murray. They wanted 2 veteran linebackers, makes sense. But then they trade Kenneth Murray. So now one of Cedric Gray or James Williams, maybe you throw Otis Reese in there. He wasn't a rookie last year, but he's still a young player. One of those linebackers is going to have the opportunity to step up and be a starter this year. So the fact that they traded away Kenneth Murray, that made that very clear. They need one of their young linebackers to step up, and now it looks like they're going to be given the opportunity to do so. That's a massive win for those young players, especially after the ups and downs of last year. So those are my winners, Latham and JBJ and Treylon Burks and the rookie linebackers. Now we need to go into the biggest remaining questions for the Tennessee Titans going forward with the rest of the offseason.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team, every day.
Titans fans, let's cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. Talked about my big losers, my big winners in free agency so far. Now we need to look at the big remaining questions for the Tennessee Titans. Before I dive in, though, do want to thank you again for making Locked On Titans your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure you get subscribed. Stay subscribed. For your second listen, check out Locked On NFL. I'm the host of Locked On NFL for the Locked On Podcast Network. You get your Titans news here with me in under 30 minutes. Get your NFL news with me in under 30 minutes with Locked On NFL. It's free and available on all platforms. But the Tennessee Titans right now have about $38 million in salary cap space. I wanted to do a financial episode, but we still don't have the contract numbers for Xavier Woods, and we don't have the new contract numbers for Julius Chestnut, which I think Chestnut's going to be like 1 year under $2 million. It's going to be like $1.5, $1.7 million. So that's not that big of a deal. But the Xavier Woods contract is 2 years, $10 million. And how they divvy out the bonus and what the salary cap hit, that does matter. I said on yesterday's show, I think it was, or it could have been the show before that I thought the Titans would have $33 to $36 million after we got all the contract details in, where they're at $38 million right now with Woods and Chestnut to go. So they are most certainly going to be in the $33 to $36 million range of salary cap, just like I projected before we even knew a bunch of these contracts. But either way, that's enough money to continue to make moves. And there are some good remaining free agents. They need help at wide receiver. They need help at edge. Obviously, we've talked about some of the names. Rondale Moore was a guy we talked about yesterday, but Rondale Moore went and signed with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not even mad about that. It had to be a medical thing. He did 4 different visits to check medicals, and one team decided to offer him. So I'm not that mad about that. But Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, DJ Chark, Tyler Lockett, Elijah Moore, Josh Reynolds, Terrence Marshall. Marshall and Reynolds are very low on the list. They're Van Jefferson types, so I doubt they go there. But they need to make another move at wide receiver. They can't just draft a guy and say that that's the group. And then at edge, Zadarius Smith, Charles Omenihu, Dennis Gardeck, Travis Gibson maybe, Von Miller, Matthew Judon, Preston Smith. Like, those are not great options, I admit. But, like, let's get one of these veterans in here. And then, of course, the Titans have to add some depth at linebacker, tight end, running back. Will they do that in veteran free agency? Will they decide to do that in the draft? For running back now with Julius Chestnut back, you have to draft a running back. Like, you have to draft a running back in this good running back class to add depth there. I think that would be a great move. And like I said yesterday, I thought Julius Chestnut was only signed to give competition to that drafted running back for the RB3 spot. And then, of course, the quarterback spot. Are the Titans going to make another QB move? Are they going to trade for Kirk Cousins? Are they going to trade Will Levis? Will they, surprise us and do something crazy? I don't think so. Again, I've said it on this episode. I said it previous episodes. Going to keep saying it. Cam Ward is your quarterback, and I don't think the Titans add a quarterback at all until they get to the draft and they draft Cam Ward number 1, and then they trade Levis, and they have Cam Ward and Brandon Allen. But who knows? Maybe, Cam Ward has bad tweets from when he was 13 or something, and now he drops in the draft. Like, we don't know what could play out, but I guess I don't expect the Titans to make another move at quarterback anytime soon, even though that's, the question still remains, what are they doing at quarterback? But I personally think that we already have our answer. But with that being said, that is going to do it for today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. I'll be back with you guys on Monday, Mock Draft Monday, and we're trading back in the second round after taking Cam Ward. But that's going to do it for me today, folks. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.